My name is Glenn Hollingsworth Jr. I live in Frederick, Maryland. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I'm 24 years old. 23 years old. I'll be turned 24 August 14th. I'm a package handler for UPS, and I'm also a server at Mediterranean Grill. I just finished my last semester for my associate's degree at Hagerstown Community College. I got my associate's degree in management. So I'm looking to pursue my bachelor's in human resource management. My childhood in Brooklyn was like, there was some up and down moments. Luckily I had the support of my family. My dad left when I was young, so it was just my mom and my sister and I. I do have two other siblings, but they resided with my dad and his other, their mother. I lived in Brooklyn until I was about eight or so. School out there was kind of rough. I had faced some adversities with like fitting in and whatnot, and then there was a lot of gang violence out there. I actually lost like one of my best friends while we were living there, which kind of forced a move. I did live in a pretty rough neighborhood, so there was a lot of like gang violence and like drugs. One of the key things, like in the neighborhood I lived in, you need to be inside before the street light came on, because if you were out then, that's when all the violence will occur. I mentioned earlier about how I lost my best friend. He didn't come in. He didn't go home when the streetlights came on. So he got caught up in gunfire of a drive-by shooting. I was supposed to be with him at the time, but my mom actually called me in a lot earlier to go inside. So if it wasn't for that, I might not be here today. This is what I think to myself sometimes. Then we moved here to Frederick. I stayed out here for maybe about like a year or so. And I guess the personality I developed in New York, like being out in the streets and just hanging out, kind of affected me here, because you're a product of your environment. So I kind of brought that here, and then my mom, she had a problem with that. So from there, she sent me with my grandparents to live in South Carolina. And South Carolina kind of changed me. I kind of got out of my old habits, because I wasn't able to do what I was normally doing, being out in the streets, hanging out with the wrong crowd. So that was actually another good decision by my mom, having me live with my grandparents for a couple years. Then once I calmed down and settled down and started being a little bit more mature, I moved back out here in 6th grade. So I was about like 11 at that time. And I started school at West Frederick. And I met one of my best friends I've known since the day. Like, we're still cool to today. We've done a lot together. We played football together, basketball. We've been there for the ups and downs. We graduated right next to each other, went after each other. So that was pretty cool. I have one brother. He's younger. I'm not too sure his age, because we haven't really kept in contact. And I also have two sisters. One older, she's 28 this year, and then my younger sister, also, I'm not too sure her age either. I haven't had the opportunity to grow with my younger siblings. When I was staying in Florence with my grandmother, she always used to my sister was kind of tomboyish, so she always tried to take her shopping to get girly clothes. And then I used to hate it, because she used to drag me along with her. So I would just throw a tantrum, or just fall out, or just do anything just to get out of the store. Just 'cause I used to hate going girl clothes shopping with them, because they would take all day, and I want to spend my time doing something I want to do. So that's a memory I have with that. With my sister, we just had so many inside jokes. I don't know if I should tell any jokes, because no one just would really understand. So that's really cool, the fact that I was able to develop that relationship with at least one of my siblings. I just play video games. My other activities include I like to play basketball. I'm not the best, but you know I'll play around and shoot around. I also play ping pong. During high school, I was in a ping pong club to kind of help me stay positive and try to guide my life to the right path. So I joined a ping pong club and I did that for a while. So I'm actually pretty good at ping pong. Also like to hang out with my friends. We go to amusement parks, like during the summertime. We go hiking, traveling sometimes. When I was staying with my mom, because she was a part of this religious organization called Jehovah's Witnesses, and with that, we go door to door. So this was Saturday, I believe. It was this Saturday. We was going door to door, and we knocked. One of the doors that we knocked on, we encountered a Baha'i, and and with the Jehovah's Witnesses, when we come across people of different religions, so we have this book. That way we can kind of like try to like say that how we can relate to them, and it wasn't in the book, so we didn't really have like any material to kind of like base on them. So instead of us like trying to like try to tell her about our faith, she ended up telling us about hers. So that was the first time I encountered it, and then after that, me and the person I was going door to door with, after we went home, we just got online, and then we were like looking up the Baha'i faith, because we was like, what is this faith that she just mentioned to us? Our mind was just like blown, because like we just never heard of this faith, and she just like gave us all this knowledge about it. The next experience I encountered with the Baha'i faith, I was actually writing a paper on religions, and so as I was writing this paper, I was talking about like Muslims and Buddhism and Christianity, and another thing that popped into my head was the Baha'i faith. We went out and searched it up, because I remember from my experience when I was going door to door, I remember how the Baha'i faith popped up. So that's how that's what made me actually go up and go look for it, because that's not something that people like really know about even to this day. A few years later, I encountered someone I went to school with. It was actually in my French class back in high school. She was working at this diner in town. It was like right after I left like a meeting too for my other religious organization, and she was like, "Hey, how are you?" And this was like in March, so you know this was during the 19-day fast that she was fasting. And then I asked her if she wanted to like hang out or do something, and she was like, "Oh, I can't. I'm fasting right now." And and then it made me think about the Baha'i faith again, because I remember in the paper I wrote about how they fast during the 19 days. So I asked her, I was like, "Are you Baha'i?" And she was like, "I am a Baha'i." And she's like, "How did you know?" I was like, "Because you mentioned you were fasting during the and I was like, and it's March." And I mentioned her about how I wrote the paper about it and how I encountered it previously. And then from there, we just have conversations. So I would come with her with questions, like I would just come with her with questions, she would answer it. And then I guess like I just kept asking questions. I would just like why do you fast for 19 days? Like who's Baha'u'llah? Who's Abdul Baha? Who's Shoghi Effendi? So she eventually invited me to a fireside.
At all times do I speak of you and call you to mind. I pray unto the Lord, the tears I implore Him to rain down all these blessings upon you. Rain down all these blessings upon you. Rain down all these blessings upon you. Rain down all these blessings upon you.
So I went to the fireside, and from there I met other Baha'is and non-Baha'is, and I don't really remember the topic conversation, but it was just really cool to see the diversity that partook at the fireside, because people are all different like ethnicities, and there's a couple people there from different religions as well. And from there was another Baha'i in the area who was like talking about it. And she was like, you're really interested in this? And I was like, it is pretty interesting. And she's like, would you like to learn more? And I was like, yeah, I'm open to learning more. I'm open-minded. So from there, I started book one like a couple of days after that. It was just me in this book one session. So, and it was intense. Like we did it like from like, it was like all day Saturday and Sunday for like 5 weeks. I learned a lot about the faith, and then about like the importance of unity and the purpose. And at that time I was kind of like a low point in my life, because I felt like I wasn't really accomplishing anything, and I felt like no sense of purpose. Even though I was going to the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, I just was really feeling down about myself. So this kind of really helped me to give me like a sense of purpose. So attending these book ones, I was like, okay. And then from there, they invited me to a junior youth group, and from there I got to see how they worked with these kids, and I thought that was really cool as well, because I remember how awkward it was for me during middle school, and how I didn't really have a role model or a mentor, not having a dad in my life, so, or like any type of role model really. So I thought that was like really inspiring. Probably like dealt away with like a lot of anger and animosity I felt at that age, and the confusion I felt about what am I supposed to do, or just the fact that like to know like I have like somebody there, like a mentor, someone I can rely on, and that friendship and bond. I feel like it will help them in a lot of ways. You know, it will help them develop that sense of justice, the fact that they're at like a vulnerable state right now, trying to figure out their identity. So like with the program and like us mentoring them will help them like develop that that help them develop that identity, and also try to give them some positive forces, because you know there's a lot of negative forces out there in society. I mean, there are some positive ones, but you know, to help kind of try to influence them to see like how they can better like help their like power expressions and their spiritual perceptions, right, and also like the acts of service as well.
Whoso reciteth in the privacy of his chamber the verses revealed by God, the scattering angels of the Almighty shall scatter abroad the fragrance of the words uttered by his mouth, and shall cause the heart of every righteous man to throb.
During the book one, when the concept of like unity was popping up and like the oneness, it made me think about like, you know, when I was going door to door with Jehovah's Witnesses, like, you know, we would try to share like a common thing that the religions had, and then it made me think, and then with the Baha'i faith, it made me think that, you know, all like how they just want like unity for everyone, just to be all as one, like no matter like what you are. And then the organization I was in, it wasn't really that diverse. It was kind of like, if it was diverse, it was kind of like segregated, like in a way, like you can tell like there was like a split between it. So the fact that I saw that, and when I was going to gatherings, everyone was just like all together, and then like that really made me appreciate like the diversity and the unity, how like they're like really serious about being united, no matter like who you are, or like what kind of background you had, or your skin color, or your race, or anything, your ethnicity. So that was really a focal point. Funny story is, this all happened maybe about 3 years ago, but I actually just became a Baha'i like Thursday. I don't really know why it took me so long to do it. I mean, I did believe in Baha'u'llah and his teachings and the purpose, but I guess I just want to get more in depth about it to make sure like I'm in this like wholehearted, that I'm not just gonna just do it for a while and then just like cop out. But like once I got that sense of like unity, going to like different gatherings and meetings and conferences and meeting everybody, and then like I just finally made a decision after I finished my book 5, of course. That was like the main thing I wanted to do. I wanted to finish the book 5. So once I finished book 5 and book 7 and got more in depth with it, so I decided to finally declare. I just wanted to feel like accomplished. Like I didn't want to like, I still wanted to declare and just be like halfway through a book that wasn't really finished. I wanted to get like more in depth into the faith to feel like I'm really a part of it before I finally declare. I didn't just want to just declare when I'm just like barely into it. So once I got more in depth and became like an animator, and like I was able to hold my own junior youth group, that's what made me decide that, you know, I'm in it. With my mom, we've spoken about it. I mean, she kind of shies away from the subject when I do talk about it. So, I mean, when she is open-minded about hearing it, I do talk about it. But most of the time, she just kind of just shies away from it. But it was on social media, so maybe they've seen it on there. I know a couple of my family members have, and they congratulated me when it was when they saw that I declared.